Shaila is treif, they say in Yiddish. It's the same with Emuna. If we have shailas, that's not kosher.
Okay.
We have to have blind faith. And what we're saying is basically, in society at large, blind faith is considered crazy, primitive, stupid. How can you have blind faith? What are you believing in? It has to be tangible. We have to be able to process it. We understand just the opposite. Suspending intellect gives us access to the infinite, gives us access to God who's beyond intellect. The great Baal Shem Tov said in Istanbul, I told you, when he lost everything, all his Torah, he said, Ich bin ana in ich gleib. We've got to remember these words. Ich bin ana in ich gleib. I'm a fool and I believe. I don't have to have it proven to me, black and white, that I can understand it. Because if I understand it, then it's limited. I can only be a receptive. I can only be a receptacle. I'll only grasp it if I'm able to put my intellect in overdrive, suspend my mind. And so if I had a choice to go back in time to any particular event in Jewish history and see it front and center, unfolding right in front of me, people dream of seeing Adam and Eve in Gan Eden hiding in the trees. We've got some very beautiful Renaissance art. The Arcada. Can you imagine us looking at the Arcada and seeing an angel coming down from heaven? We go back in time in a time capsule and we're able to see it. We see the crossing of the sea. We see the exodus of Egypt. We see the giving of the Torah. It would be amazing! It would be amazing, but we would be at a disadvantage. Because now, our hasaga, our grasp of the event, is limited by our vision. It's limited by our seeing it in real life. Sometimes when we want to connect, the best thing we could do is close our eyes. Because when we are grasping, when we are trying to connect to something, the eyes see the exterior, the form. It doesn't get to the pnimi, to the essence. Faith is sublime. Faith doesn't require seeing. Faith flies in the face of Seichel. We find that Esther Hamalka, brought about the greatest miracle for the Jewish people. But she lived in a state of constant hester. Va'anochi haster aster pone. I will conceal my face on that day. She lived in a state of total spiritual oblivion in Achashverosh's palace. What sustained her was her Emuna. Vayihi oimein es Hadassah. The pasuk says, Mordechai was omein Hadassah. Hadassah had Emuna. She was brought up like an orphan. She just depended. She followed instructions. Mordechai said, don't say where you're from. How hard that is. How difficult it is. How much pressure Achashverosh put on her to say where she's from. But this is the core, deep idea here. If she would have said where she is from to Achashverosh, she now reflects and represents her dynasty from King Shaul. She's no longer intimately connected, bonded, and one with the entire Jewish people. The greatness of Esther is that everybody who saw her was sure that she's from their people. She had no I, she had no identity. The minute we have an identity, or we consider ourselves as a specific identity, meaning that our mind sees it this way, that way, the other way, we boxed it in. Now we're living in the box limits. Mordechai knew that Esther, the queen, who's going to save and represent the entire Jewish people and correct the midah of Malchus, of kingdomship for the entire people of King Shaul, of her great-grandfather, had to have no identity. And when she finally reveals her identity, after Haman's downfall, it's written in the Haggadah, Ki higida Esther mahula, because Esther had revealed mahula. Ma means, like we know, Benechnu ma, I'm nothing. There's no I. The mahula. She is a part of everyone. And when it comes to our minds, Emuna is Ein Sof. The minute we believe because we understand it this way or we understand it that way, we're limited. Now, of course, we are here to delve and understand and ascertain how Hashem manifests himself in this world and how we grasp his characteristics or the way he shows himself to us. Even Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to understand, why is it that the wicked prosper and the righteous suffer? It doesn't mean simple faith. Being a tam, being tmimus, being one with Hashem, doesn't mean that I can't probe and that I can't go to the to the museum and see the wheels of Paris chariots underneath the Red Sea. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't reinforce in a way with intellect, but my knowledge of Hashem, my belief in Hashem is not grounded on intellect. It's Ein Sof. Now, how do I come to that level of sublime surrender and connectivity that is higher than understanding? How does that become the template, the frame of my relationship with Hashem? Any ideas?
Bittul Yesh.
Good. Bittul Yesh. A little bit more. Bittul Yesh is
just
good.
To connect to God's will, like to set aside your own self and what you want and what you think is what you want to do, and to do the right thing that says in the Torah and that God says.
Good. Yeah. I'll add a little bit to that. We know that Hashem was, is, and will be. But we talk about Hashem, when we talk about him, we say, Haya, which means he was, however he is, yeah, he will be. Past, the present, the future. But when we talk about him, in the Pasuk, it says, Hashem Melech, Hashem is the king now. Hashem Malach, Hashem reigned in the past. Hashem Yimloch Leilam Vayed, he will reign forever and ever. We start with the present. Hashem Melech. When we talk about God, we say he's the past, the present, the future. He's beyond time. But when we coronate him, when we connect to him, we seek him out in the present. Hashem Melech. Hashem is king now. Hashem Malach. Then we see that he was king in the past. And then we can project to the future and say Hashem Yimlach Leilam Vayed. But our faith begins by being able to see him right now as the king. Now, if you're seeing him, so seeing is limited. We now, but no, that's not what it means. It doesn't mean seeing him and having faith based on what we see. It means living him now. Belief in God is not philosophy. It's not a set of beliefs. It's palpable. It's I'm living now with God. Do you know how I come to Emuna? Ta'amu uru'u. Taste and you will see Kitav Hashem, that Hashem is good. I see him now. I'm living with him now. We know the basic battle cry of our Emuna is the words Shema Yisrael. Listen, O Israel. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Hashem, our God, Hashem is one. He unites and brings everything in the entire world and animates everything in the world. Nothing else exists without him. And the word Shema is an acronym for a apostle. The apostle says, Su and see me created all these. Su and you will see me bar Elu who created all these. My Rabbi used to say, I've said it many times, why do I have to lift upwards with my eyes and see the galaxies and see the outer edges of space? Look at the pictures coming out of Hubble telescope. The billions and billions of light years away, they could see galaxies with trillions of stars. I have to look upwards to be able to believe in God and see who created everything. I looked down at the ground. I could see on a blade of grass. You could see in a little ant. Put a little ant under a microscope. Put a little bug under a microscope. And it's moving, and it has so many different little sensory attachments, and it's functioning and flying. It's no man could never create anything like this.
I was actually seeing is snow under a microscope. I don't know if you ever
But snow, every crystal, every little crystal, every little drop of snow has a different internal crystallized structure. So what do I need to look up to the heavens for? Look down in every drop of water. The answer is look upwards with your eyes. Shema doesn't mean look up to the sky. It means step out of the confines of the box. Lift upwards. See it from a higher perspective. Don't process it with whether if I understand it, I get it, I grasp it, good, and if not, not. It has to transcend rationale to be real. Yesterday we were talking in relationships, how you have to transcend the rationale to be able to forge a relationship. Because if anything is built on rationale, it's only based on how much the other person deserves or how much I think I need to give. And that creates a limitation. It doesn't make a real relationship. A real relationship has to be unconditional. My relationship with Hashem is unconditional. V'ahavtas Hashem Elokecha. I will love Hashem. I'm connected to him intimately, even if I don't feel anything. On the contrary, when I don't feel it, it is real. It's not about feeling, and it's not about understanding. Ich bin ein Narr und ich lebe. I'm a simpleton. All the early greats emphasized Tmimus in their Avodas Hashem. Tmimus is a wholesome connectivity. I walk with Hashem. I'm not trying to be choika and ascertain the future. My heart is one with him, here and in the next world. I don't have to understand. And when I do that in the now, right now, it's not just a philosophy that God created the world, a set of principles, the guiding principles of our religion. I'm living my God now. He is now the king. Everything flows from him. When I get that, now the Hashem Melech, then I'll see that Hashem Malach, and I'll see the Hashem Yimlach L'olam V'ad. So to go back to our original question, yes, it would be nice to go back in time and look and see Ma'abed Har Sinai. Yes, it would be nice to go back in time and see the crossing of the sea. Go back in a time capsule. Go back up to space and be able to see beyond the speed of light and see things unfolding in this world that happened 2,000 years ago. But I'm not paying money to do it. It's not important, because what I have is worth much more. It's worth much more. You know, we live in a world where we have to experience things. We want to experience. People go out and they take the great adventure. The theme parks have to come up with more thrilling rides. And if a guy doesn't feel that he's being thrown 100 feet in the air and tossed over in triple somersaults, he doesn't feel he's alive. He needs a thrill. There was someone recently I saw that was talking about how he does this incredible, dangerous speed diving, I think it is, or something, where you're thrown from a plane and you're so very high up and you have to, till you pull your parachute. I don't remember what it was, something very dangerous, or gliding off a mountain and hand gliding. And he was asked, like, why do you do it? Why do you endanger your life? And such a rush, and such adrenaline, that it's worth it. Even if I have to give up my life, it's worth it. It's like, he said a word, I've forgotten the word. It's like, it's more than life itself. Now that's our world, which is constantly breaking the frontiers of new indulgences, new experiencing with the body, the thrill of life. We understand the body is limited. We don't want to be in that zone. We want to be in limitless zone. And limitless zone means I could be sitting in my place and closing my eyes. I'm connecting to the Hashem inside of me, and I'm connected to the infinite, to eternity. Now I'm experiencing life. And even though I don't understand, on the contrary, the less I understand, the better. I'm connected. The Meraglim had a problem. They needed to understand. The whole idea of the Meraglim was that they should go into the land of Israel. And even though the seichel, the mind, looks like it's an impregnable fortresses, they look like they are mighty and powerful, it looks like it's impossible to conquer. Suspend seichel. And that way you will have for people, absorb Emuna. Very difficult to let go of seichel. Couldn't do it. We're all Meraglim. Do you know a spy lives a double existence? It's a double life. On the outside is one, on the inside is another. Nobody knows his inside. And when we come down to this world, we have to spy out the land. We're Meraglim. On the one hand, we know that God is there. On the other hand, we get sucked into all the distractions and the physical and material mindset of this world. And the way we cross this world is Emuna. It's true I don't see Hashem. It's true I don't feel Hashem. It's true it doesn't make sense why I should have to surrender my desires and follow Torah. I'd love to be free. Because I know that over here I can live it up. In the next world, I can't. Like the Meraglim understood that there, where they were, they could be the Nasi, they could be the heads. And in the next existence, they don't have that leadership, they don't have that strength, they don't have that opportunity or ability. We too, we're the same way over here, we could live it up. In the next world, in the next existence, we can't. And so we have a tremendous pull. And the way that we cross this world is through Emuna. Imun. I trust, even though it's hasty, even though it's dark, I don't have to understand. Ka yoshi'acho me'atzas meraglim. Guys, I'm going to leave it here, because I think I'm going under a little bit. But that's an idea and a thought which is worth processing and thinking about. I'm finishing a little early today. Emuna, trust and faith, is a much more deep, intimate, and current connection than any form of seeing, understanding, feeling. It connects us to the divine. Gadol ha'oina amen yosem mehem mavarach. That's exactly what it means. Thank you, guys.
Okay, I feel better, unfortunately.